Admiral Vex stood at the command deck of Nexus Prime's orbital station, watching the endless stream of data flow across his screens. For 30 years, he had protected the heart of the Galactic Empire. Not once had an enemy ship come close to this sacred world. The fortress planet below glowed with the lights of 1 trillion beings. Nexus Prime was more than just another world. It was the center of everything. From here, the Empire ruled over 1,000 star systems. The Emperor himself lived in the Golden Palace that covered half the northern continent. "Sir, morning patrol." "Reports all clear," said Captain Core, his young assistant. The blue-skinned officer checked his tablet with the same pride Vex remembered from his own early days. "Defense grid is at full power. All weapon platforms ready." Vex nodded slowly. The defense network around Nexus Prime was a work of art. Energy shields wrapped the planet like invisible armor. Automated guns floated in perfect formations, ready to destroy anything that didn't belong. Jump points were monitored so closely that not even a small cargo ship could appear without permission. "Good work, Captain," Vex said. "The Empire sleeps safely because we—" The alarms exploded to life. Red lights flashed across every screen. Warning sounds filled the command center. Officers jumped from their seats, rushing to their stations. Vex had heard these alarms during drills, but never during a real emergency. "Report!" Vex shouted over the noise. Captain Core stared at his screen with wide eyes. His hands shook as he touched the controls. "Sir, this can't be right. The computers must be broken." "What do you see?" "There's a ship, sir. A big one, right inside our defense perimeter." Vex pushed past him to look at the main display. His blood turned cold. There, floating calmly between 2 weapon platforms, was a massive battleship. The ship was dark gray, covered in scars and burn marks. Strange symbols were painted on its hull. It looked like it had fought in 100 battles. "How did it get there?" Vex demanded. "I don't know, sir. It just appeared. No jump signature, no energy spike, nothing. Our sensors didn't detect it until it was already there." Vex's mind raced. In 3 decades of service, he had seen every type of ship the galaxy could build. This one was different. Its design made no sense. The hull was too thick in some places, too thin in others. Weapon ports were placed in positions that broke every rule of space combat. "Where did it come from?" he asked. Captain Core checked his files. "Unknown design, sir. The computer can't match it to any known species. Run a deep scan. Full power. Already. Trying, sir. The ship seems to be hiding from our scanners somehow. We can see it, but we can't see inside it. We don't know how many crew members it has or what weapons it carries." More officers gathered around the main screen. Everyone stared at the impossible ship that shouldn't exist. "Sir," called Lieutenant Blue from the communication station, "the ship is sending a message." "Put it on screen." The main display changed. Instead of showing the mysterious ship, it now showed text in perfect Imperial Standard language. "Greetings, Nexus Prime Defense Command. This is Captain Blake of the human vessel Terra's Wrath. We come in peace. We need to talk." Silence filled the command center. Vex could hear his own heartbeat. "Human," Captain Core whispered. "But sir, humans are primitives. They barely have space travel. Our files say they've never left their home system." Vex studied the message again. The words were simple, but they carried weight. This wasn't a request. It was a statement. The humans were here and they wanted to talk. "Send a response," he ordered. "Demand to know how they bypassed our defenses." Lieutenant Blue typed quickly. A moment later, a new message appeared. "We used the front door. Your defense grid has some interesting blind spots." Several officers made worried sounds. Vex felt sweat on his forehead. The Empire's greatest fortress had blind spots? Impossible. "Sir," Captain Core said quietly, "should we attack?" Vex looked at the human ship again. It sat motionless between the weapon platforms, making no threatening moves. But its very presence was a threat. If one ship could appear anywhere without warning, what about 10 ships, 100? "No," he said finally. "Not yet. Send a message to High Command. Tell them we have a situation." As officers rushed to follow his orders, Vex kept staring at the Terra's Wrath. The ship's name bothered him. Wrath meant anger, Earth's anger. But humans were supposed to be weak, divided, fighting among themselves. How did they build something like this? "Sir," Lieutenant Blue called out. "We're getting a response from the ship." Another message appeared. "We know you're calling for help. That's fine. We'll wait. We have time, but we're not leaving without our people." "Their people?" Captain Kor looked confused. "What people?" Vex's stomach dropped. Deep in the Empire's most secret prison, there were prisoners that officially didn't exist, enemies of the state who had been captured during border conflicts. If the humans knew about them— "Sir, new message coming in. We want to speak with Admiral Kane. We know you have him." The command center fell silent again. Admiral Kane was the Empire's most classified prisoner. His capture had been so secret that only a handful of people knew about it. How did these humans know? "Get me a direct line to the Emperor," Vex ordered. Priority 1. As his officers scrambled to open communication channels, Vex stared at the human battleship. It looked peaceful enough, just floating there like a sleeping giant. But he could feel the danger radiating from it. This was no primitive cargo hauler. This was a weapon of war, built by people who understood things the Empire had missed. The thought scared him more than he wanted to admit. "Sir," Captain Kor said nervously, "what if there are more of them?" Vex didn't answer. He was thinking the same thing. If humans could build one ship that could appear anywhere, they could build more. They could be anywhere right now, watching, waiting. The Empire had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years by being stronger than everyone else. But strength meant nothing if you couldn't hit your enemy. And if the Terra's wrath was any example, hitting humans might be harder than anyone had imagined. Admiral Vex looked at his screens one more time. Somewhere in the distance, alarms were still ringing. The most secure world in the galaxy was no longer secure, and nobody knew what to do about it. The age of human mystery had begun. Emperor Thane sat in his golden throne room staring at the emergency report. His 4 eyes read every word 3 times, but the message stayed the same. A human ship had somehow appeared at Nexus Prime without triggering a single alarm. "This is impossible," he said to the empty room. His voice echoed off the crystal walls. General Max entered through the massive doors, his heavy boots clicking on the marble floor. The old soldier's face was grim. Behind him walked Minister Vale, the Empire's top diplomat, carrying a stack of data tablets. "Your Majesty," General Max said with a bow, "we have a problem." "I can see that." Emperor Thane stood up from his throne. "How does a primitive species suddenly have technology we can't detect?" Minister Vale stepped forward. "Sir, we've been reviewing our files on humanity. What we found is concerning." She activated a hologram in the center of the room. A small, blue planet appeared, spinning slowly. "This is Earth, the human homeworld. Population: 8 billion. Our last intelligence report was 50 years ago. At that time, they had just developed basic spaceflight. And now? Now they have a battleship that can appear anywhere in the galaxy." Emperor Thane walked around the hologram. Earth looked so small, so unimportant. How could such a tiny world threaten his empire? "What do we know about their military?" he asked. General Max touched his tablet. The hologram changed, showing rough sketches of human ships. "Very little, sir. Humans are secretive. They don't expand like other species. They don't conquer neighbors or build big fleets that we can see. Most of our information comes from traders who visit their system." "What do the traders say?" "That. Humans are strange. They ask too many questions. They want to know about ship designs, defense systems, jump drive technology. We thought they were just curious." Emperor Thane felt a chill run down his spine. "They were studying us." "It appears so, sir." The Emperor returned to his throne. For 1,000 years, the Empire had grown by conquering weaker species. They would study a new world, learn its weaknesses, then crush its defenses with overwhelming force. It was a simple system that always worked. Now it seemed like someone had been studying them. "What about this Admiral Kane they mentioned?" the Emperor asked. Minister Vale looked uncomfortable. Sir, that's classified information. Very few people know about him. I'm the Emperor. Tell me. She touched her tablet carefully. 3 years ago, we captured a human ship near the outer rim. Small cargo vessel, 2 crew members. We took them for questioning about human technology. And? 1 crew member died during interrogation. The other was Admiral Kane. Our records show he's been in the Black Site prison ever since. Emperor. Thane frowned. The Black Site was the Empire's most secret prison. It didn't officially exist. Prisoners sent there were erased from all records. How did the humans know where to find him? Sir, General Max interrupted. We have an incoming transmission from Admiral Vex. Put him through. A hologram of Admiral Vex appeared in the throne room. The defense commander looked tired and worried. Your Majesty, the situation has changed. The human ship is still here, but now they're making demands. What kind of demands? They want to meet with Ambassador Roth. They say they'll wait as long as necessary, but they won't leave without their people. All of their people. Emperor Thane's heart sank. All of them? How many humans do we have? Minister Vale checked her tablet. According to classified records, 47 individuals. Across various facilities. They know about all 47? It appears so, sir. The Emperor began pacing. This was getting worse by the minute. If humans knew about prisoners that didn't officially exist, what else did they know? Send Ambassador Roth to meet with them, he ordered. But keep our fleets ready. If this is some kind of trick... Sir, Admiral Vex interrupted. There's something else. We've been scanning the human ship continuously. Every time we think we understand its capabilities, it shows us something new. Explain. The ship's power signature keeps changing. Sometimes it looks like a small cruiser, sometimes like a dreadnought. Its weapon ports appear and disappear. We can't get accurate readings on anything. General Max leaned forward. Could it be some kind of cloaking technology? More advanced than that, sir. It's like the ship is constantly rebuilding itself. Emperor Thane stopped pacing. A ship that could change its own structure? The Empire had nothing like that. No species in the galaxy had that kind of technology. Your Majesty, Minister Vale said quietly, perhaps we should consider their demands. If we return their people, they might leave peacefully. Absolutely not, General Max growled. We don't negotiate with primitives. Send the fleet to destroy them. With what? Admiral Vex asked. Sir, we have no idea what weapons that ship carries. For all we know, it could be more powerful than our entire defense grid. The throne room fell silent. Emperor Thane looked at each of his advisors. These were the smartest, most experienced leaders in the Empire. And they were all afraid of one human ship. Sir, Admiral Vex continued, there's one more thing. The humans sent another message an hour ago. What did it say? They thanked us for keeping Admiral Kane safe. They said they know we've been treating their people well and they appreciate our hospitality. General Max snorted. Hospitality? We've been interrogating them. That's what makes it strange, sir. Either they don't know what we've been doing to their people, or they don't care. Both possibilities worry me. Emperor Thane sat back down heavily. The Empire's enemies usually screamed about torture and injustice. They demanded immediate release and threatened revenge. But these humans were being polite. They were saying thank you. It was terrifying. Send Ambassador Roth, he decided. But tell him to be careful. These humans are not what they seem. As his advisors left to carry out orders, Emperor Thane stared at the hologram of Earth again. Such a small world. But small things could be the most dangerous. A tiny virus could kill a giant. A small crack could bring down a mountain. He had the feeling that humanity was about to be the Empire's smallest, most dangerous problem. Outside his window, the first of the Imperial fleets was already moving toward Nexus Prime. Hundreds of warships, carrying enough firepower to destroy planets. It should have made him feel safer. Instead, he wondered if it would be enough. Ambassador Roth adjusted his ceremonial robes as he walked toward the meeting chamber. In 40 years of diplomatic service, he had never felt this nervous. The human ship, Terra's Wrath, hung outside the station like a silent threat, waiting for answers. "Remember," Admiral Vex said as they walked, "humans are supposed to be primitive. Don't let them intimidate you." Roth nodded, but his hands were shaking. Primitive species didn't build ships that could appear anywhere without warning. They didn't know about secret prisoners. Something was very wrong with their intelligence files. The meeting chamber doors opened with a soft hiss. Inside, two figures waited at the negotiation table. Ambassador Roth had expected aliens, strange creatures with unusual features. Instead, he saw two beings that looked almost normal. Almost. The woman wore a simple blue uniform with no decorations. Her hair was brown, her skin pale, and her eyes were the strangest shade of green Roth had ever seen. She looked young, maybe 30 standard years, but there was something ancient in her expression. The man beside her was older, with gray hair and deep lines around his eyes. He wore the same blue uniform, but his had small metal badges on the collar. Both humans sat perfectly still, watching the Imperial delegation enter. "I am Ambassador Roth of the Galactic Empire," he announced using his most formal voice. "You have requested this meeting. State your business." The woman smiled. It was not a happy smile. "I am Captain Blake of the Terra's Wrath. This is Commander Webb, my diplomatic officer. Thank you for agreeing to talk with us." Her voice was calm and polite, but Roth felt danger in every word. "Your ship has violated Imperial space," he said, trying to sound confident. "You will remove it immediately, or face the consequences." Captain Blake tilted her head slightly. "Ambassador, we both know that threats won't work here. Your defense grid couldn't stop us from arriving. It won't stop us from leaving when we choose to." "How did you penetrate our defenses?" Admiral Vex demanded. Commander Webb spoke for the first time. His voice was deeper than Blake's, with a strange accent. "The same way water finds cracks in stone. Your defenses are strong, but they're built on old thinking." "Explain." Captain Blake activated a small device on the table. A hologram appeared, showing Nexus Prime's defense network. Every shield generator, every weapon platform, every sensor array was perfectly displayed. Ambassador Roth's blood turned cold. This was classified information. The humans shouldn't have access to any of it. Your defense grid follows patterns, Blake explained. Predictable patterns. Energy flows in straight lines. Sensors sweep in regular cycles. Weapon platforms rotate on fixed schedules. The hologram changed, showing gaps in the coverage. Tiny spaces where sensors couldn't reach, moments when weapons looked the wrong way. "We've been watching you for 23 years, Webb said quietly. "Learning your routines. Your ships always arrive at the same jump points. Your patrols follow the same routes. Your commanders make the same decisions." "That's impossible," Admiral Vex protested. "We would have detected surveillance." Blake laughed softly. "Would you? Tell me, Admiral, when was the last time you looked for something you didn't expect to find?" Roth realized what she meant. The Empire looked for known threats, enemy warships, familiar technology, standard attack patterns. They never looked for things that didn't fit their understanding of the galaxy. "We want our people back," Blake continued. "All 47 of them. We don't know what you're talking about." Roth lied. Webb activated another device. Names and faces appeared in the hologram, Imperial prisoners that officially didn't exist. Admiral Kane, captured 3 years ago near Rigel Station. Lieutenant Reed, taken during a border patrol 18 months ago. Engineer Stone, disappeared during a trade mission to Vega Prime. Each name came with a photograph and detailed information. Service records, family details, personal histories. The humans knew everything. "How?" Roth whispered. "We take care of our own," Blake said simply. "When someone doesn't come home, we find out why. We find out where they are. We find out how to get them back." Admiral Vex leaned forward aggressively. "Are you threatening us?" "No," Webb replied. "We're explaining. Humans don't make threats. We make promises. And we always keep our promises." The meeting chamber fell silent. Roth could hear his own breathing, his rapid heartbeat. These humans were nothing like the reports described. They weren't primitive or divided. They were organized, informed, and absolutely confident. "What do you want in exchange?" he asked finally. "Nothing," Blake said. "We want our people back because they belong with us. This isn't a trade, it's a correction." "And if we refuse?" Blake and Webb exchanged glances. Something passed between them, some silent communication that made Roth even more nervous. "Ambassador," Blake said carefully, "how many Imperial facilities do you think exist in this galaxy?" "What kind of question is that?" "A simple one: military bases, government buildings, prison complexes, manufacturing centers. How many?" Roth didn't answer. He didn't know why she was asking. "We estimate about 40,000 major installations," Webb said. "Give or take a few hundred." Blake nodded. 40,000 places that follow the same predictable patterns, the same security procedures, the same blind spots. The meaning hit Roth like a physical blow. If humans could penetrate Nexus Prime's defenses, they could penetrate anywhere. The Empire's strength meant nothing if humans could appear inside any facility without warning. "You're talking about war," Admiral Vex said. "No," Blake replied. "War is what happens when two sides fight. This would be something else entirely." She stood up from the table. Commander Webb rose with her. "We'll give you 12 hours to consider," Blake said. "Bring Admiral Kane to the shuttle bay. He can verify the condition of our other people. Once we know they're safe, we'll arrange transfers." "And if our answer is no?" Roth asked. Blake walked toward the door, then stopped. "Ambassador, in 23 years of watching your empire, we've learned one important thing. You respect strength. So let me be very clear about our strength." She turned back to face him. Those strange green eyes seemed to look right through him. "Terra's wrath isn't alone. Right now there are 17 human ships positioned near Imperial facilities throughout the galaxy. Ships you can't see, can't detect, can't stop. They're waiting for my signal. 17 ships against the entire Imperial fleet?" Admiral Vex scoffed. Webb smiled sadly. "Admiral, you still don't understand. Those 17 ships aren't there to fight your fleet. They're there to make your fleet irrelevant." The humans left the chamber without another word. Ambassador Roth stood alone with Admiral Vex, staring at the empty chairs where two people had just rewritten the rules of galactic politics. Outside the windows, Terra's wrath waited patiently. But now, Roth knew it wasn't waiting alone. Emperor Thane slammed his fist on the golden table. The emergency council meeting had been going for 3 hours and nobody had any good answers. 17 ships, he roared. "How do 17 human ships threaten my entire empire?" General Max stood at attention, but sweat dripped down his blue face. "Sir, we don't know where these ships are located. They could be anywhere." "Then find them. Deploy every scanner, every probe, every detection system we have." "We're trying, Your Majesty. But if they can hide like the Terra's wrath, our sensors might be useless." Minister Vale cleared her throat nervously. "Sir, perhaps we should consider their demands. 47 prisoners in exchange for peace." "No." The Emperor's voice echoed through the chamber. "The Galactic Empire does not bow to primitives. I don't care if they have 17 ships or 70. We have 10,000 warships. We will crush them." Admiral Vex's hologram flickered to life above the table. The defense commander looked exhausted. "Your Majesty, I must report a new development. The human ship has changed." "What do you mean, changed?" "See for yourself, sir." The hologram shifted to show the Terra's wrath floating near Nexus Prime. But it didn't look the same as before. The hull had opened in dozens of places, revealing weapon ports that gleamed like hungry eyes. New sections had extended from the main body, making the ship twice as large. "How is that possible?" General Max whispered. "We don't know, sir. The ship seems to be rebuilding itself. Our engineers say it's impossible with any known technology." Emperor Thane stared at the transformed battleship. It looked like a sleeping monster that had finally woken up. Every line of its hull suggested violence and power. "Send the Third Fleet," he ordered. "Surround that ship. Show these humans what real strength looks like." "Sir," Admiral Vex said carefully, "are you sure?" That's wise. Do it. 3 hours later, the Third Fleet arrived at Nexus Prime. 50 Imperial warships took positions around the Terra's Wrath, their weapons powered and ready. The human ship sat motionless in the center of the formation, seemingly helpless. Captain, Blake's voice came through the communication system, calm as always. Admiral Vex, this seems like an aggressive move. Are we no longer negotiating? Admiral Vex looked at the tactical display. His ships had the human vessel completely surrounded. There was no escape route, no way for them to run. Surrender now, he broadcast, and we might let your crew live. Blake's response was immediate. Admiral, you're making a mistake. The only mistake was letting you get this close to our world. You're outnumbered 50-1. Numbers aren't everything. Suddenly, every alarm on every Imperial ship began screaming at once. Officers across the fleet stared at their screens in confusion and terror. The Terra's Wrath wasn't just changing anymore, it was transforming completely. New weapon systems emerged from hidden compartments. The hull split apart and rebuilt itself in real time. Energy readings spiked beyond anything the Imperial sensors could measure. What's happening? Admiral Vex demanded. His tactical officer, Lieutenant Ross, checked her instruments with shaking hands. Sir, the human ship it's bigger than our scanners can read. The power output is off the charts. That's impossible. Sir, it's also moving. Vex looked at the main screen. The Terra's Wrath was indeed moving, but not in any way that made sense. It wasn't turning or accelerating. Instead, parts of it seemed to fold through space itself, appearing in different positions without crossing the distance between. All ships open fire! Vex shouted. 50 Imperial warships unleashed their weapons at once. Energy beams, plasma cannons, and missile swarms converged on the human vessel. The space around Nexus Prime lit up like a star being born. When the light faded, the Terra's Wrath was still there, completely undamaged. Impossible, Lieutenant Ross whispered. The human ship hadn't used shields to block the attack. It had done something else entirely. The Imperial weapons had simply missed. Every shot had curved away at the last second, as if space itself was protecting the vessel. Captain Blake's voice filled the communication channels again. Admiral, your weapons are very impressive, but you're still thinking in straight lines. What does that mean? Your energy beams travel from point A to point B. Your missiles follow predictable flight paths. Your tactics assume that space works the way you expect it to. Admiral Vex felt ice in his stomach. And it doesn't? Not for us. The Terra's Wrath began to move again, but this time Vex could see what was happening. The ship wasn't moving through space, it was bending space around itself. Imperial weapons couldn't hit a target that existed in folded dimensions. Sir, Lieutenant Ross called out, we're getting reports from across the fleet. Our targeting systems can't lock onto the human ship. It's like it's everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Vex watched in horror as the Terra's Wrath demonstrated capabilities that shouldn't exist. The ship moved between his vessels like a ghost, never threatening, but never vulnerable. His entire fleet was helpless against something they couldn't understand. Stand down, he ordered quietly. Sir, all ships stand down, lower weapons. The Imperial fleet powered down their guns. In the sudden silence, Captain Blake's voice returned. Thank you, Admiral. Now, shall we continue our negotiations? Back on the planet's surface, Emperor Thane received the reports with growing dread. His finest fleet had been made to look foolish by a single human ship, not defeated, humiliated. Your Majesty, General Mack said carefully, perhaps it's time to reconsider. Reconsider what? These humans aren't what we thought they were. Their technology, their tactics, their way of thinking, it's all completely different from ours. Minister Vale nodded agreement. Sir, we've built our empire by overwhelming our enemies with superior numbers and firepower. But what if superior numbers don't matter anymore? The Emperor looked at the tactical reports again. 50 warships unable to damage one human vessel. Not because they weren't strong enough, but because they were thinking about the problem in the wrong way. What are you suggesting? That may be, General Mack said slowly. We're not the strongest force in the galaxy anymore. Maybe we never were. Maybe we were just the most predictable. Emperor Thane sat in silence for a long time. Outside his window, he could see the lights of Nexus Prime stretching to the horizon. Trillions of beings who counted on the Empire's strength to protect them. But strength meant nothing if your enemy could rewrite the rules of physics. "Bring me Admiral Kane," he said finally. "Sir, if we're going to talk to these humans, we need to understand them better, and the only way to do that is to hear what they've been trying to tell us." As his advisors hurried to carry out the order, Emperor Thane looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, 17 human ships were waiting, ships that could appear anywhere, anytime, without warning. The age of Imperial dominance was ending, and he wasn't sure what would replace it. Admiral Kane walked slowly into the shuttle bay, flanked by 6 Imperial guards. After 3 years in the Black Site prison, he looked older and thinner, but his eyes were still sharp. He wore simple gray clothes instead of his uniform, but he carried himself like a soldier. Captain Blake waited by the shuttle doors. When she saw Kane, her calm expression softened for just a moment. Relief flickered across her face before the professional mask returned. "Admiral," she said with a small nod. "Captain Blake." Kane's voice was rough from disuse, but steady. "I see you found me." "We never stopped looking." Emperor Thane watched the exchange through security cameras from his throne room. These 2 humans showed no emotion, but he could feel the connection between them. The Empire captured prisoners and broke them. Humans captured hearts and kept them whole. "Sir," General Mack said quietly, "Kane looks healthy." It was true. Despite 3 years of interrogation, Admiral Kane stood straight and alert. The Empire's best methods had failed to break him. He looked tired, but not defeated. "Bring them all to the main conference room," the Emperor ordered. "It's time to end this." An hour later, the largest conference room in the Imperial Palace hosted the strangest meeting in galactic history. Emperor Thane sat at the head of a massive table, surrounded by his advisors. Captain Blake and Admiral Kane sat across from them, looking small, but somehow dangerous. "Admiral Kane," the Emperor began, "you've been our guest for 3 years. What can you tell us about human capabilities?" Kane smiled for the first time since entering the room. "Your Majesty, you're asking the wrong question." "What should I be asking?" "You should be asking why we came here alone." Emperor Thane frowned. "Explain." Captain Blake activated a small device. The hologram that appeared showed star charts covering half the galaxy. Hundreds of red dots marked human positions. "We've been watching the Empire for 23 years, she said. "But we've also been watching everyone else. The Zephyrian Republic, the Crystal Syndicate, the Free Worlds Alliance. All your neighbors, all your enemies." The red dots began, moving, showing patrol routes and observation posts throughout known space. "Every major power in this galaxy follows the same pattern," Admiral Kane continued. "Expand, conquer, control. Build bigger fleets, stronger weapons, more fortresses. It's predictable." "And humans don't follow patterns?" General Max asked. "Humans adapt," Blake replied. "When we see a problem, we don't try to overpower it. We try to understand it. Then we find a better way." Emperor Thane studied the star chart. The human observation network was everywhere, watching everything. "What do you want from us?" "Nothing you haven't already given us," Kane said. "You've shown us exactly how the Empire works. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your blind spots. We've learned everything we need to know." "That sounds like a threat." Blake shook her head. "Your Majesty, if we wanted to destroy the Empire, we would have done it already. We're here because we want something different." "Which is?" "Balance." She touched the device again. The hologram changed, showing different scenarios. Imperial fleets attacking enemies, trade routes being disrupted, worlds being conquered. "The Empire has ruled through fear for 1,000 years, Blake explained. "But fear only works if people believe you're unbeatable. What happens when that changes?" Emperor Thane felt cold understanding creep up his spine. "Rebellion." "Exactly. If the Empire looks weak, every enemy you've made will attack at once. Chaos, war, billions of deaths. We don't want that." Admiral Kane leaned forward. "Humans prefer stability, but not the kind that comes from overwhelming force. The kind that comes from mutual respect. You want us to negotiate with our enemies? General Max scoffed. We want you to recognize that you have equals, Blake corrected. Starting with us. The conference room fell silent. Emperor Thane looked at his advisors, seeing doubt and fear in their eyes. For 1,000 years, the Empire had been the strongest force in the galaxy. Now 2 humans were calmly explaining why that had to change. What are you proposing? He asked finally. Captain Blake stood up and walked to the hologram. A new arrangement. The Empire continues to exist, continues to govern its current territory, but it stops expanding. It starts talking instead of conquering. And if we refuse, Admiral Kane answered quietly, then the galaxy learns that human ships can appear anywhere, anytime, without warning. Your enemies will realize that Imperial defenses mean nothing. The Empire will face attacks from every direction. But if we agree, then humanity becomes the Empire's greatest ally, Blake said. We keep watching the galaxy. We warn you about threats. We help maintain stability through cooperation instead of conquest. Emperor Thane stood up and walked around the table. The 2 humans watched him calmly, showing no fear even in the heart of Imperial power. You're asking me to change everything, he said. We're asking you to evolve, Kane replied. The Empire has survived 1,000 years by being stronger than everyone else. Now it can survive the next 1,000 years by being smarter than everyone else. The Emperor stopped walking and looked directly at Captain Blake. And the 17 ships hidden throughout our territory? Will remain hidden, she said simply. Insurance. A reminder that the old ways don't work anymore. What about our prisoners? Your people? They'll come home with us, all 47 of them. They've given enough. Emperor Thane returned to his seat. Around the table, his advisors waited for his decision. Outside the windows, Nexus Prime glowed with the lights of Imperial power. But that power felt different now. Less absolute. More fragile. Very well, he said finally. The Empire recognizes humanity as an equal power. We will establish formal diplomatic relations. We will release all human prisoners. Captain Blake nodded. Thank you, Your Majesty. But understand this, the Emperor continued, his voice hard. If humanity breaks this agreement, if you use your advantages against us, the Empire will respond with everything we have. We understand, Admiral Kane said. But Your Majesty, you should understand something too. Humans keep their promises. When we say we'll be your allies, we mean it. When we say we'll defend this arrangement, we will. Blake touched her device one last time. The hologram showed the Terra's wrath beginning to move away from Nexus Prime. We'll be leaving now, she said. Ambassador Roth can arrange the prisoner transfers. We look forward to working with you. As the 2 humans left the conference room, Emperor Thane sat alone with his thoughts. Through the windows, he could see the Terra's wrath growing smaller as it moved away from the planet. Soon it would disappear completely, probably folding space again in ways his scientists couldn't understand. But he knew it would be back. Not as a threat, but as a reminder. The galaxy had changed. The Empire would have to change with it. General Max broke the silence. Sir, do you think we made the right choice? Emperor Thane smiled for the first time in days. General, I think we just learned that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is admit you're not the strongest anymore. Outside, the stars looked different. Not conquered territory, but a vast space filled with equals and possibilities. The age of Imperial dominance was over. The age of galactic cooperation had begun.